What is up, everyone? Ryan Ray here, Outpost 23. Thank you so much for tuning in on our quest to 3 million subscribers, which is not tied at all to Passenger 57. It's tied to Star Wars in some way. Passenger 57, 1992 release starring Wesley Snipes. And spoilers, of course, it's 1992. If you haven't seen it, sorry. The movie, if you can see this shirt with the fades, that's about how I feel about this movie. The movie, it has a lot of potential. It's a crying shame when a movie wastes a good villain. And this movie took a good villain and absolutely wasted him. I mean, wasted him. To be fair, it's a 1992 film, and so it kind of has some of that cheesy 1992 action sequences with the, I don't know what kind of martial artist Wesley Snipes pits himself to be, but, it looks very much 1992-ish with the fights. And so I don't necessarily knock that. And what I mean by that is this, is that, you kind of have the, not kung fu, but, the karate style fighting that's going on there. And then, if you go back and watch movies, post-UFC, post-mixed martial arts, a guy gets choked out, you presume he did. A punch to the face or an elbow to the face, he's knocked out and he's never coming back. Mixed martial arts has really changed that to where you don't see that as much in any movies anymore, because now we know a guy gets choked out, he wakes up a minute later and he come kill you. Or an elbow to the face doesn't knock you out. So I'm willing to let those things slide for older movies, because that's just how the things were. That's how they were. I mean, people weren't really dying, but the moves still worked like they do now back then, if that makes sense. But regardless, movies depicted them that way. So I'm fine with that. The problem is that the movie, it creates problems for itself. This is supposed to be a airline hijacking movie, Passenger 57. Okay, Passenger 57 is Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes is a expert on counterterrorism, especially as it refers to airplane hijacks and things along those lines. So, typical plot line. He's on the plane gets hijacked, and here we go. The villain is what's interesting. So the villain starts off in the opening scene of the movie. He's getting plastic surgery, and there's a comment, something to the effect of, he changes his face regularly, and if we don't catch him now, we'll never catch him. I don't know how plastic surgery works, or how we thought it worked in 1992. I can't imagine you can change your face so often that they could never catch you. Maybe that's so. Regardless, they catch him, of course, and then he's put on the plane. The villain's name is, I got my notes here, I can't remember. Charles Rains. Charles Rains. And he's captured early in the movie. He's on the plane. Wesley Snipes is on the plane, and here we go. Now, the thing that disappoints me with the movie, with the villain, is that Charles Rains is, you're led to believe he's Hannibal Lecter. He is the baddest of the bad. There's no good in him. He is going to do whatever evil thing he has to do to escape. And early in the movie, he's taken into custody after he's captured. He meets with his lawyer. He slams his lawyer's head in the face multiple times. He makes his lawyer repeat, Charles Rains is not insane. Charles Rains is not insane. Obviously, he's insane. But that's the kind of villain we're dealing with. You're like, okay, this is the villain we need. This is evil. We want to see this guy defeated, but we want him defeated in the right way, which means the good guy comes and he takes him down, and the villain doesn't screw it up. And that's what happens. The villain screws it up. In the movie, as the movie progresses, there's at least one time where the villain could get away, and he doesn't. And it's like, you had a great villain. He was cunning. He's thoughtful. He knows how to act, and yet he gets caught up in chasing back after Wesley Snipes when he didn't have to. He could have just walked away and escaped. That's the villain we're dealing with. We're not dealing with a villain who's going to turn back and go for revenge on the cop or the airline's anti-security council guy, whatever. So it doesn't work from that standpoint. It also doesn't work from a couple other standpoints. I'm not sure where the movie's set, but they're going to Los Angeles, and that's very clear. I think there's maybe Miami. By the way, the plane flight takes a lot of ocean, and it stops in the middle of Louisiana, so I'm thinking Miami, possibly. Which leads to another problem. The airline headquarters are in Miami. The plane takes off and lands in Louisiana, going to Los Angeles. I'm sure that's the flight pattern. That works. But one of the airline employees is sent to catch up to them when they land by helicopter. I don't know. What they at the same headquarters? The plane took off and he caught up to. That didn't make sense. There's several things like that throughout the movie that just don't make sense. You're going, what's going on here? Why is this happening? I don't. It had potential. It had potential, and it did not deliver. And that's what's frustrating. It's kind of hard to put your finger on. There's just things that you just go, if you wouldn't, why this dialogue here? It's so bad. Why this sequence here? Why? That's what I'm left with. Why? I think it has a 5.7 on IMDb, something like that. That's probably about right. Maybe a tad bit generous. I'll put it like this. If the villain wasn't as good, it wouldn't be that good of a movie. The villain is what holds you in, because you're thinking, okay, he's got one more rabbit, what I was saying is, he's got one more thing to pull out of his hat. Rabbit out of his hat. That's it. Rabbit out of his hat. He's got one more rabbit out of the hat. And it's just, no. So, I will link to this movie below. If you want to buy it, go for it. Rent it, whatever. That's your deal. That's fine. If you like Wesley Snipes, bad action movies, this might be your Friday night film. For me, it's one that I will probably never watch again. Again, the 5.7 or whatever it was is below a 6 on IMDb is indicative of Charles Rains is not insane. I mean, he's crazy. He's certifiably crazy. Makes for a good villain if you execute it right. So much like this shirt. This shirt was a nice Under Armour shirt years ago. It's faded. This shirt had potential, and now this shirt is very lackluster. That's how I would describe this movie. If you saw it, let me know. What do you think? Passenger 57, Wesley Snipes, 1992. Maybe for a 92 film, you're more generous than I am. Let me know in the comments below.